Hi, this is Kim with Scholarly Pursuits, and today we're going to talk about thank you notes, why you should write them, when you should write them, and how you should write them. So let's go. Thank you notes are one of those things that when you receive it, you just get a good feeling about yourself. And in the job application, the interview process, a thank you note is critical. Years ago, I applied for a job with the state here in Ohio. And I had relocated here after college, and I was looking for a job. And looking for a job can be kind of stressful, as we talked about before. And I interviewed for the job, and I sent a thank you note to both people that interviewed me for that particular job. And I did end up getting the job. And I found out later, after I started the job, my manager told me, she said, "You know what? You were the only applicant that submitted a thank you note." See, a thank you note can differentiate you from other applicants. Now, you still need to be qualified for the job. You still need to have a understanding for the culture. You still need to research the company before you interview. You still need to prepare for the interview. But a thank you note just adds that little extra to something, right? So, as my sons were growing up, that was one of those things that I always stressed. That's because that's how I was raised, to be quite honest with you, that you show appreciation, that you're grateful. I'm a woman of faith, so I'm always thanking God for something. Is who I am and is who I raise my sons to be as well. So it comes naturally as a part of the job application, the job search process, to send thank you notes, because that's something that we were raised to do, and what our we raised our sons to do as well. So here's the thing: we live in an electronic environment now. So now you don't necessarily have to use a pen and paper. Is it acceptable to send an email as a thank you note? I would say yes. Just think about who you interviewed with, how much you really want that job, the magnitude of the job. If this is something that you really want. If you write a thank you note in person, me personally, I think it just adds a little special that it can differentiate you a little bit from some of the other applicants. But by all means, there's nothing wrong with sending an email thank you, especially if you have a panel of several different people. They want to hire someone quickly. Sometimes the snail mail kind of making its way through the mailing system and then gets to the company, and then it takes a while to get from the mailroom to the desk of the person that interviewed you. Time might be an issue. The important thing about thank you notes is that you send them, right? That you acknowledge the interviewer and the time they took to interview you, that you share, again, reiterate in a short form, because you don't want a long thank you note. You want to be kind of concise, that you are reiterating that you're interested in the job. You might even want to highlight just a few of your strengths and the things you discussed in the interview. And you want to make sure you're timely in getting that thank you note out to the interviewer, right? You want to make sure that within 24 hours, that thank you note is either received or put in the mail to the people that sat in on the interview panel. I know when I was doing interviews a little more frequently, sometimes we would do 10 interviews. And even though we would take notes and we would have scoring sheets and have different ways of keeping track of who said what and for the interviews, sometimes after you interview a lot of people, it's hard to kind of say, well, who exactly was the best? Because it's been a while from the first person that you interviewed to the 10th person that you interviewed, or the 6th person that you interviewed. A thank you note can make that person kind of trigger their memory and say, wait a minute, yeah, there was something else that they did that I really liked. There was something that they said that just kind of differentiates that person in the interviewer's mind as they're determining whether or not to select this person for the job. So you want to make sure that when you interview for jobs, you send a thank you note, whether you do it by pen and paper, whether you do it by, I'm sure there's thank you note programs out there where you can send thank you notes electronically, whether you send a simple email that just thank you for taking the time to interview me. I am interested in the position and I believe I will be an asset to your organization. And then you also want to make sure that it contains enough information, but not too much information, right? That it's concise. And then you will find that it's appreciated by the interviewer. And as you become leadership or management, or as you make your way up into the corporate structure or the organizational structure or the company, you'll find that you're appreciative of those notes as well. I do think thank you notes are an extremely important part of the interview process. And I look forward to hearing your stories about how you've used thank you notes, the female feedback that you've received back from submitting thank you notes. And I know that you will be getting some of the jobs that you apply for. Again, this is Kim with Scholarly Pursuits. I thank you so much for tuning in to this segment of Scholarly Pursuits. And in the coming weeks, we'll look at what to do first when you don't get a job, or if you get those what we call non-select letters, or those letters where you weren't selected for a position. What are some things that you can do? Again, thank you. My name is Kim. I'm with Scholarly Pursuits. If you found the content of this particular email, let me do that again. If you found the content of this particular video helpful, or know someone else that could find this information useful, I invite you to like, comment, and share. And I look forward to talking to you during the coming segments. Thank you.